Hey everybody, welcome to StoryTime with Mr. T. We've got a really cool book. Thank you to Miss Bradshaw's class for sharing the true story of the three little pigs as told by the wolf. The true story of the three little pigs. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story, said the wolf. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf to be exact, but you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. You know, hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake. I was making it for my dear old granny. But you know what? I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. He had a mess. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor, he was a pig. And he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? This pig did. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, and that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. I huffed, I snuffed, and I sneezed a great big old sneeze, bigger than I ever have before. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time and I didn't know it. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. So I ate him up. And think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. He had some dinner. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. And that neighbor, he was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not too much because, he built this house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. See all those hairs and his little razor? He's trying to get them off. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze again. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down too, just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor, said the wolf. Now, food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. And I was getting awfully full, but man, you know what? My cold was feeling a little bit better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because guess what? He built his house out of bricks. And there's his house. The wolf said, I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called out, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what the rude little porker answered? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again. It was kind of rude. Talk about impolite, said the wolf. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little bitty cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake. I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled out, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." "This was a rude, mean little porker," said the wolf. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but talk smack about my granny like that, and I go a little bit crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time, I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. Reporters everywhere, microphones in our face. And the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I'd eaten for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar, didn't sound real exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down crap, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. There he is holding the newspaper. He's not real happy. And there he is in jail. And he says, "But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar?" That's the end of the story. I appreciate y'all joining me for tonight. See you in a couple of weeks for our next story. Have a good night.